Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a little while. I've had some personal issues, some medical issues. But anyway, we're going to do an inbox kit review today. Being a child of the 70s and 80s, we had a lot of great TV shows. A lot of them were hokey, but one of my favorite ones happened to be Airwolf. So I was lucky enough to find this kit on eBay at a pretty reasonable price. It's the 1/48 scale Aoshima Airwolf, number SP6. Aoshima really did a lot of research with this kit, and you can tell the instructions are very well laid out. The color callouts are right. You know, they're perfect. They have no problem whatsoever. I can understand every one of them. I have to give Aoshima props that as of now they are the only model making company that actually included a full EDCC command center for the back of Airwolf. I remember doing the old Ertl kits, and you know, they were rough, but hey, they made a pretty good representation of Airwolf. The instructions are very well laid out, very well drawn, very well illustrated. Excuse me. There are unfortunately a few problems with the kit. I will go over those as we go through the parts list. One thing I want to mention is that Revell Germany has a color called anthracite, and I've been on a bunch of models forums and everything else, and they say that that is a close match to the actual color. No, it's not. Sorry, but the actual color is a DuPont Enron color called Phantom Gray Effect, and it is 5031K. In different lighting angles, it could be different colors. I've seen it gray. I've seen it look almost like a gunship gray. I've seen it a chocolate brown. It just depends on how the light hits it. Which I plan on using 5031K for this kit. So if anybody's going to follow along and they want to do the same thing, just be forewarned that if you do not use a good primer, a good automotive primer, lacquer base, the paint and the reducer that you have to mix with the paint will eat the kit. I screwed up and found out the hard way. But anyway, we're going to get on with the inbox review and bring out the first sprue, which is the fuselage. Fuselage looks great, no flash on it whatsoever. It has recessed panel lines, raised rivets. It's a beautiful rendition of a 222. Side panels that make the helicopter Airwolf. The only problem that I have is that in the instructions there is a little panel right here that they say is your countermeasure panel. It isn't. That panel is actually a flap that hides a stair for the mechanic to come in and do all his daily maintenance checks. The actual countermeasure panel is right here on the helicopter. Like I said, no flash, beautifully done. The thing that I like is they actually molded the fuel doors into the fuselage, so that means that I don't have to sit there and do little itty bitty pieces of tape to make that door. So we're going to go on to the next sprue, which is our tail section. It's a two-part design, plenty of rivets, plenty of detail. It looks great. Only thing I'm having issues with is the plastic that they use. Part of it is a matte and part of it is gloss, so I can't figure out, maybe something happened in the molding aspect. Okay, our next sprue is the top part of the cabin. We have the faux doors for our quote-unquote countermeasures, which I'm not going to use those. The nose scoop, side stabilizer, front landing gear. These are actually supposed to be the bulletproof mesh intakes for Airwolf. These are the wing spots and doors that house the machine guns. Everything on here is beautifully detailed. There is, like I said, absolutely no flash whatsoever. Our next sprue is the machine guns. Here you have your 30 caliber and your 50 caliber. Very nicely done. They represent the actual chain guns. They look fine. Right color paint, little wash, little weathering, look perfect. Next box is next sprue is our tail rotor, our main rotor shaft, main rotor head, and engine transmission for the rotors, and some poly caps for the landing gear. Next sprue is our main rotor. All the connection points for the main rotor, tail rotor assembly. I'm assuming that's the looks like a control arm, which could be, I don't know, I'll have to go back and look again. Everything, like I said, looks great. Here we have the underbelly, which is very nicely detailed. Wing spots and doors, turbine intakes, main gear. We have our landing gear wheels. This is the thing that gets me. This is another complaint. Aoshima, I'm sorry to tell you this, but no Bell 222 has landing gear door covers. Not main gear anyway. I'm thinking when they did the research, they probably looked at one of the DVDs and they saw Airwolf coming out of the lair, which that was a remote controlled fuselage for a helicopter that was just roughly done. Nobody cut out the wheel wells or anything on it. So I'm thinking that's maybe where they got that from. Next sprue, we have the actual cockpit. We have instrument panel, interior floor, one of the seats, rotor pedals. You have a pilot figure that actually looks pretty decent. The helmet on this thing, the detail on this thing, the helmet actually looks like one of the Airwolf helmets. It doesn't look like a blob of plastic on top of a figure. So props to Aoshima on that. Next sprue is our EDCC panels. Instrument coning, cyclics and collectives, I'm sorry I didn't mention those. The controls for the turbos, another pilot, the keyboard. Next thing I have a problem with is in the videos, this is the side that Dom and Kate mainly use. This side, if I remember correctly, and if I'm incorrect, I'm sorry, but I'm going to go back and check my video reference. There was nothing like this elaboration on the other side. I don't remember any of that. There may have been a couple of dials and gauges, but nothing this elaborate. So I'll go back and check that, and if it needs to be corrected, I'll correct it. Next sheet. Our ADF pod, engine exhaust, turbo exhaust, more doors for the quote-unquote countermeasure door. The only problem I have with this is it's chrome. So I'm going to have to go back and dip these parts in Wesley's bleach all to get rid of it. I'll keep the chrome on the engines so I can go back and do burnt metal on them. But everything's nicely detailed. I don't know if the camera's picking this up or not, but the detailing on the ADF pod is just amazing. Very, very nice. Again, no flash. Our next little bag of goodies, and I kept them in here because I didn't want to get them scratched up, are clear windows. These things are gorgeous. They're nice and clean, nice and crisp on the detail. Um, that little piece there and that little piece there are actually your rotor beacon lights that go on just behind the rotor blade and on the belly. They're beautifully done, crystal clear, have no complaints with that. And finally, I don't want to mess this up, but hey, they even gave us decals. You have your instrument panel up front, EDCC panels. They even gave you decals for the tail rotor, decals for what we call the oh shit stick, and the faux windows that are on the main windows. So props to Aoshima on that one. Well, that pretty much covers the inbox review. Don't worry guys, I still haven't forgot about the Tomcat build, just some things have gotten in the way of it, but I will be starting back on that in the next day or two. The next video I'm going to do is going to be another inbox review of, in the States we call it Voltron. In Japan it was called Go Lion. So I had a friend of mine who lives in Japan that actually found me a Go Lion set. Greg, thank you buddy, I appreciate it. Your top's in my book. Which I'm going to do an inbox review on that. And then we're going to have a little poll to see which kit I do after the Tomcat. It's either going to be Airwolf or Go Lion. You guys get to vote. So stay tuned for that, and happy modeling.